Hello and welcome, listeners, to episode 157 of the Two Vets Talk Pets podcast, where too much talking of pets is barely enough. And given the way the intro has been going before we started recording, probably won't even happen anyway. I'm Dr. Robbie Andit, and I'm joined by a man who has been instrumental in trying to get a clause in the recent free trade agreement between the G7 leaders to help to establish a more direct route to get several books on how to tell your dog and or cat that you are pregnant into Russia. It's Dr. Lewis Kirkham. Lewis, how are you going?
Very nice, mate. I think the book would go well in the old Cyrillic.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so. I'm quite fluent. Dos vidania, spasiba, pожалуйста.
Yep.
Niet. Yeah. Niet. So are you. You're fluent too.
Niet and vodka.
I wonder, would I have to translate the baby sounds on it, do you think?
Oh, you could do.
Do they cry differently in Russia?
What do Russian babies sound like, Lewis? Have
Yeah,
you got any tips there for us? Have a quick look on YouTube and we'll see. We'll just pause the show. We'll give you another long pause, okay, after just to see whether or not you can get some Russian babies crying.
Well, speaking of YouTube, mate.
Yes.
The channel, it's gone ballistic.
Is it really?
It's gone viral, mate. We were down last week's episode. No, 2 weeks ago episode.
Yes, the first one we put on, where the episode 155.
3 views. You twice, me once. 3 views.
Yep. We had 3. Where are we at now?
We'll ignore that one for a minute. We'll move on to last week's one.
Last week's, yes.
14 views.
14 views. Get out of town. I haven't even looked at it once. 14. I thought you hadn't worried about putting it on there, Lewis, because only 3 people looked at it. But now suddenly we've got 14 people. It's a sensation.
It's seriously viral, mate. I think we're going to get a little bit of income from the ads to go with that, I think, on the side.
Nice one. I mean, I'm actually going to send to my computer then, so that then, it's actually, so it doesn't look like I'm sort of looking across the room. But Christine is going to be impressed with that because she's even gone and cleaned the house.
Well, there were a few comments how clean the house was, so thank you very much. Yeah. And Rosie playing with the toy, it was great. So a few people have been watching, isn't that nice?
Terrific. There's every chance you could get a kid in an Oodie run past later on, because we are recording this quite late. This is back like the old days where we used to record late on a Monday night. We used to come home after work, and then we used to keep your daughters up all night because we'd be up giggling like a pack of idiots until about 11 o'clock at night.
Tell me about it. But I was trying to look through the whole back of YouTube and going through, found the history of when we've been logged in, what we've been looking at. Mate,
oh, really?
Are we willing to share this? Are you okay? You okay with this, mate?
I think we should be okay, hopefully.
I won't go back too far.
Oh, good. Excellent. Yeah.
A while ago, Tea and Consent.
Tea and Consent.
Have you seen that video? It must have been one I watched, I think.
I haven't. It might have been one video. Yeah.
Great video. Very different to the milkshake and consent one. Actually, a good video on consent. Then after that, we had how to fishtail braid. Beginner-friendly hair tutorial.
Yeah, that was definitely not you.
Certainly not me. Then we got shock verdict hopes to save a life. Not sure what that one. Dog toe amputation.
Oh, yes. Yeah, right.
Yeah, could that have been you?
That could have been me,
I've done a toe. Yep. Then we've got ones I'm suspicious of you. Marvel Studios Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings official teaser.
Shang-Chi, yes.
Yep. Then Marvel Studios Loki official trailer 2.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, obviously for the first series, yes.
The first one obviously wasn't good enough, so you watched the second trailer as well.
I'll take anything I can get, yes.
Yeah. How to administer asthma first aid. Now, trying to learn that off YouTube, Robbie?
Oh, absolutely,
Interesting to do that. Henry Cavill and Simon Pegg teach you English slang.
Yes, yeah. That was quite a funny video, actually.
Then we've got a couple of videos. We won't go into those ones. We'll skip those ones. And then
skip those ones, okay?
Yeah. Obviously late night. No. Then we got a couple of FHO in a cat.
Yes, femoral head and neck osteectomy.
Yes,
so cutting off the ball in the socket joint.
Yeah. And then we've got someone. Then we viewed our podcast episode 155.
That's a bit of an auto one. Yeah, that was me. That was one of the views. Good.
Yeah. And then we've got 13 videos of how to set up a fish tank. How is that going, mate?
Very well. We'll have to take the camera through and show the listeners how the fish tank is going, because Camille got that for her birthday. So
yes, still live.
So far, so good. Yeah. Interesting. This I didn't have a show, but this is actually interesting. So the fish tank is incredibly interesting to the cat. So Melvin loves the fish tank, Lewis, in a way that, it's always that thing of, you picture in your head that how much cats love fish tanks, but I've never actually seen it with my own eyes. And I tell you what, he is transfixed by
Right.
these fish. So this morning I was looking at it, and he's sitting there, he's whacking the glass. You know,
Wow.
when the goldfish, or the palmies or fly of zooming past, or platies. I think they're platies,
Yeah.
not a palmy, a platy. So as they're swimming past, he's trying to whack out and trying to get them. But the problem is like tonight, because we're giving them a reboost on their arthritis injection, because Melvin and Parker, they're old and they've got arthritis, and we're trying to help them out with that.
Like you said, the cats, mate. I was just wondering how you diagnose the arthritis in the fish, but that's okay.
Goldfish,
Yeah, right,
yeah, swollen leg. It's got a bit of a limp.
It
just swims around in circles.
The tail's a bit stiff when it when it
first
gets up in the morning.
I mean, it warms out of it. It warms out of it as it's swimming around.
It's okay to walk.
Maybe it needs some shark cartilage. That'll help it out. So Camille, because it's sitting on her desk, Camille's got this this sort of putty, that you play with, and you can sort of ooze
magic putty. Yep.
And so she sits that on her desk, and it sort of turns into this big purple puddle. And so after we've given Melvin his arthritis injection, suddenly he's walking around kicking his leg out. And I thought, oh, geez, that's a weird reaction after you've had a cartrophin injection. And I have a look, and he's got a big purple patch on the back of his leg.
Big good putty.
Not only on his foot, it's also on his hock, on his ankle. It's not only there, but he's also got it up around near his doodle area. Oh. So he's got these 3 big patches, and I'm trying to pull it off, and he's getting all upset. I go, oh, sorry, mate, you're going in tomorrow for a bit of a clip off. And Camille's going, oh, Daddy, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. The cat's just sitting there watching the fish. If he didn't look at the fish, it wouldn't be an issue.
Oh, mate.
So the fish are very healthy, and the cat's got a purple foot and a purple doodle. So that's never great.
No, it doesn't sound ideal. No, definitely not. And we're perhaps every week we can update. We'll get a little update. Shoes off in the house still, fish still alive. How's
still
Rosie going?
6 for 6.
Yeah. We can still work on a few of those things. Just keep the listeners updated. But
the wonderful life of being the animals of vets. There's just always something going wrong.
Exactly, mate. I had an interesting case this week. We had a locum in at the moment. Carl was planning to go to New Zealand, but unfortunately borders are closed.
Like COVID it out. Yep.
Yeah, he didn't get there. I was sort of sitting in the office, and locum vet was sort of she was talking about, she had this 13.5-year-old cat that she wanted to send off for a neurological exam. And I was sort of like, I was tapping away. I wasn't really listening, writing my notes and that sort of thing. And she's talking to Julie about it, going, where am I going to send it? And was sort of like, oh yeah, well, there is one place that perhaps we'll send to with a neurologist who works there. And talking about how this cat, the owner was sort of a 13.5-year-old cat patting the bed one night, and the cat just suddenly attacked her hand and quite badly, put her in hospital, antibiotics, that sort of thing, sounded quite bad. And then a second time she was walking down the corridor, and again, similar sort of thing. The cat out of nowhere seemed to attack her hand again, the same hand, and put her back in hospital again.
Oh no,
sort of thing. So it was really quite. And so she's thinking, it's a sudden sort of aggression sort of thing, and it sort of highlights a little bit what goes through a behaviourist mind. And Julie sort of says, oh, why don't you have a chat to Lewis? That might be behaviour. So she's sort of telling me about it, and that's all fine. So I'm having sort of scrolling back through the history slowly. Yes, and she's telling me all this stuff at the same time. And there've been a few cat bite episodes, a few fights, or an outdoor cat, that sort of thing. And then she's going, it's never been aggressive before. Going, oh, it's been aggressive to other cats, but that doesn't necessarily mean a lot. Maybe it saw another cat out the window at that time, and it's redirected aggression. And then got back to a consult in 2014, 7 years ago. The cat had actually attacked a neighbour.
Wow. Gee whiz.
And had been numerous times aggressive in the home environment, and been recommended to have a veterinary behaviour specialist to come out and check it out and help them out, because it attacked a neighbour. Imagine your cat. Oh, look, your cat's just attacked a neighbour out in the street.
I mean, we know that Olive's got a fairly short fuse. Has she ever been, a perpetrator of neighbourhood violence?
She's a bit more of a runner, really, out in the street.
Oh, okay,
if she gets cornered, she will probably,
put up a fight.
Yeah, she would, I think. But no, she's definitely a runner. But it's interesting, that 2014 had this incident, and then there was no mention in the history at all about any issues at all. Then suddenly this cat's aggressive again. So I said,
Miraculously out of
I think as a behavior vet, you've got to probe this a bit further, because it seems like to me it's not an occurrence where, we need a neurological exam. It seems like this is something that's been going on, potentially some issues just little around the edges. You need to investigate a bit further. So that's the thoughts that go through a behavior vet's mind when they're asked a question.
Absolutely.
Good to look back at the history.
Well, I mean, you have to. I mean, that's part of the thing, isn't it? The reason why we ask so many questions when we're when we're examining an animal, because gee whiz, you certainly can miss stuff, and sometimes sometimes the answers aren't even forthcoming. Like sometimes an owner will go, well, actually, now I think about it, actually it might be ... and that's one of the things that I know we always try and be really careful with in our at our practice, is that if somebody then, the classic one is you're in there for your vaccination and you do that, eating, drinking normally, going to the toilet normally, yep, wonderful, no signs of arthritis, everything's terrific, do your physical exam, and on the way out the door, oh yeah, and by the way, ... like, oh man, look, this is obviously something that you've been worried about, because you didn't just suddenly remember that, oh, hang on, my dog's also been destroying every pillow in the house or is scratching out the laundry door or something like that. That's something that has been, stewing on your head, and you're embarrassed about talking about, but it's absolutely fine, because behavior issues are very, very common. But it's also not something that we can deal with in the 30 seconds as I'm opening up the door and waving to you and saying, we'll see you.
Signing the vaccination certificate and sending them out. Yeah. No.
By the way, or even better, oh, now my other cat is ... It's like, okay, well, that sounds like a really good thing that we should bring that cat in for, so that we can have a talk about what's actually going on.
The interesting thing when I used to house calls for behavior stuff is I used to, when I first went to people's houses, I had a bit of a run-through sheet of, that sort of thing, and I needed a bit of baseline. So I'd often, ask them, ages, names, all that sort of thing, household setup, that kind of thing. And after a while, I realized that people didn't like that sort of thing. So actually what I then learned to do was actually, because they're so pent up, they've been waiting for me to come for so long, and they're there to talk about behavior. I just sit down and I'd go, so what's the problem? And I just sit there and take notes, and that would give me the most amount of information, because that would just be blah 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 blah, and then you can just work into it. So, oh, Sammy, okay, how old's Sammy? And you work into the conversation. But if I spent the first 10 minutes trying to get a bit of signalment, bit of background, it just really, the owners got really antsy about it. And then interesting also, I'll be there for 2 hours, maybe even longer at a consult. And often it wasn't until an hour in when they start trusting you, and then you get a totally different vibe of what actually is going on, So, so it definitely takes time with behavior. Definitely. That's for sure. Yeah, go on. And also this week had an interesting lady came in with a little puppy. She was from, I think she obviously lived in Hong Kong for a period of time. And she said to me, can I take my puppy out for a walk? And I said, oh, of course you can take, your puppy's old enough now. Oh, well, you're in Melbourne, so you can take him out for a walk. Parvovirus is really low risk in Melbourne, CBD area. And she goes, oh, so I need to pick up the poo when they do poo? Yes, we do. Have to pick up the poo. And she goes, and also, do I need to carry a bottle of boiled water to hose off the urine? And I was like, I'm sorry? She goes, well, in Hong Kong, when we take pets to walks, if they do a wee on something, we actually have to have a bottle of obviously sort of sterilized water that's been boiled to actually squirt the water off the pavement on the streets. I thought, isn't that great?
Gee,
no wonder. Yeah. So there you go. That's a bit different.
It's, I guess unless there's a tree, then it's just a good way of getting them to water the trees as well. If they're, the dog wees on the tree.
Such a built-up city, I suppose. They just don't want dog wear in every corner and every pillar and post. But it's an interesting point that we don't actually do something like that, because it's not hard to do that. Carry a bottle of water, just squirt it on, dilute it down, doesn't stain the buildings, doesn't make the smell, all that sort of stuff.
I guess certainly in the the built up metropolis of what is the CBD and where you are, where there's no nature strips or anything like that, but out in the wilds of suburbia out here, there's nature strips. It's pretty I think dogs. in general probably don't enjoy weeing on concrete compared to weeing on grass, if that's what they're used to, if that's the substrate that they're used to weeing on.
They'll all go in a corner. I mean, you got the dog that'll mark everything and walk, every corner, every sort of street corner or whatever it is we walk around. Still got nature strips here, mate, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you should come into the city one day. You should come and check it out one day. Come and travel to the big smoke, mate, from out there in the
Am I allowed to? Now they're
not
out
the
of
moment.
Yeah, no.
Not the moment. You are out of Greater Melbourne, aren't you?
No, I'm still in Greater Melbourne. Melbourne's not that great at present. It is interesting. Then
how about that?
It's you just got to have the water bottle that's attached to the lead, that's attached to your poo bags, and then having all your other bits and pieces on there. Maybe you could have the extendable lead. You could have like a little squirter at the back of it.
Well, there are extendable leads. I think we don't like the extendable leads.
No,
we won't recommend those ones at all. But everyone carries water these days, mate. That's the go-to. In the city, it's a very, very, very chic. Very I can't remember the word, but the girls had a word for it. But anyway, it's what they do. All right, speaking of things that are amazing. Oh, you got something?
No, yeah. You talk about sort of funny conversations, right? So I had working on last Saturday. So I was on with Sean. He's young Sean. He's doing great. He's been around for 3 months. So he's cutting his teeth well, but so he's still there, wrapped up behind the apron strings on a Saturday, because weird things can happen on Saturdays, Lewis.
Yeah, he's cutting his teeth and townnails well. Good,
exactly,
good to hear.
Perfectly.
Good to hear. Yep.
And so the last Saturday that we're on, it started off quietly, and because I actually was the Saturday after I had my COVID vax, and so I thought, friends of mine had been sick sort of 2 or 3 days afterwards, and I thought, you know what, if I'm getting crook, I don't want there to have been 2 lines worth of consults booked. So I said, look, just book it up for 1, and if I'm well enough, I'll come in and I'll do any of the extra stuff that comes in. So we had, a reasonably full list for Sean. And so I've rocked in there. I thought, look, it's all routine stuff. He'll be able to smash all this. It'll give me a chance to try and doing some paperwork and getting some other stuff done. Oh yeah. Shouldn't have thought about that. 8:45 phone calls come in. 11-week-old puppy, little cavoodle. He's just under 2 kilos, eating a bra extender. Now, my first question, I went up to the nurse and I said, "Hey, Anne,
Google,
what the there's a bra extender."
Google, be careful with that history, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Don't YouTube it. Don't YouTube that one.
I YouTubed it on the Two Vets Talk Pets page. So, how to use a bra extender.
They were the couple that I skipped. I thought that was a late night sort of one that you did. Yeah,
so it was a legitimate story. Legitimate story.
Saturday night? Yeah, no worries.
So this little puppy's eating a bra extender. I go,
wow.
God,
Righto.
And so first off, I was like, I need to work out what a bra extender is. And I said, look, how big was it and all that sort of stuff. And so she showed me the picture of it, and I go, oh, all right. I said, well, look, we should probably X-ray.
She showed you
a picture on her phone.
Right.
Of on the Lincraft website of this is what a bra extender would look like. So I said, oh, look, let's X-ray it, because we should check and make sure it's actually there. Make sure that it's eaten. And she's like, I'm pretty damn sure it's eaten. I said,
right.
Gotcha. But if we're going to start off down a path, let's actually check and make sure what's going on. So X-rayed it, and this little puppy, it's a teeny tiny little thing, big stomach full of food. And there's the bra extender down the bottom, all these little bits of wires and hooks and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
And so I said to her, right, well, it's there. So let's try and see if we can make it vomit. If it's gone down, let's see if we can make it come back up again. Because if we can't get it back up, we've got to try and work out how the hell we're going to get it. So I gave it some apomorphine, tiny little bit of apomorphine with this teeny tiny little puppy. Out it all comes, up comes the food, up comes some more food, up comes a little bit more food, and no bra extender. I go, oh, bloody hell.
At that time, did you think maybe you could get like a bra that's got the hooks that go obviously into the bra extender, and just kind of get the puppy to swallow that?
One end of it.
Yeah, swallow that and hold on to it, and then whoosh,
just go fishing for it.
Yeah, hook on there and whip it out.
Certainly could have been an option, but I didn't think about that at the time because unfortunately I was thinking about other potential scenarios.
It wasn't on the link. It wasn't on the Lincraft website. It wasn't
on the Lincraft website of what to do if your puppy eats a bra extender. So oh crap, I went and spoke to the owner. I said, look, so this thing's stuck in his tummy. we can't let it try and pass through. It's going to be too big. It's going to get blocked.
Yeah.
So really, we've got to get in there and try and get it out. Now, I said I could do surgery to go and remove it, but he's an 11-week-old puppy. He's already a little bit stressed coming into the vets, and I don't want to make. He's less than 2 kilos. I don't want to make a hole in him if I don't have to. The other option is I send you off to someone with an endoscope and try and see whether or not we can actually get an endoscope down there, grab it, and pull it out. You know, because if it's gone in, we can pull it back out, and at least in that way he'll be in and out really quickly. You know, should hopefully be problem solved. So then, being a Saturday, I'm ringing around all the local specialist centres, and I tell you what, every single one just wanted to reach for a scalpel blade. They said,
really?
They said, oh look, we just, you know, it's a gastric foreign body. Can't we just go in there and pull it out? I said to one person, I was starting to get a little fiery by the time I got to the third one. I said, call me old-fashioned, but if there's a chance that we can go in there and pull this back out of the dog's mouth rather than pulling it out of the hole in its abdomen, surely that would be a reasonable option for what we should try and do.
You think so? Yeah.
So,
wow.
And I don't have an endoscope.
Did you give him a bit of, look, don't you know who I am? Like,
two vets. Have you not heard my podcast?
Have you seen our YouTube channel? 14 views.
Probably maybe they have. That's probably but what I mean, 4 at that stage.
Yeah, probably. So maybe 10 from the specialist centre looked. Yeah, righto.
So I finally found someone that was going to be willing to, you know, just break all the rules and try and pass an endoscope down and grab a hold of this thing and pull it out. So sent it off there, and I said to look, I'm really, really sorry. Like, I feel really bad that I wish I had a scope that I could stick down there, but I just don't have the equipment. And so she went off to the specialist center, and thank goodness that the person that was on had their head screwed on right. She said, oh, you know what? For the sake of it, let's just try and see whether or not we can make it vomit one more time, see if we can get it up. And strike me freaking pink. She's given it the same stuff, and up comes the
that's
extender.
Awesome.
So how good was that?
Oh, wow.
So
that's really good.
So I was trying to chase up, so I thought, I need to try and see what was happening with little Fredo. And so the history hadn't come through yet. So I rang up the specialist center, because there's nothing worse than ringing up an owner to find out what's going on and find
things wouldn't go so well.
So I thought, I'll ring up the specialist center, and they said, oh, yeah, no, look, sorry, we've been really busy, didn't get a chance to send through the history. But yeah, I made him vomit, and he brought it back up again. Oh, I said, look, thank you. Thank you for actually, you know, trying that again rather than actually jumping straight in, right? So that was case number one of difficult conversations, having to try and talk about bra extenders, right? An hour later, I see on the computer, dog eaten 2 tampons.
Wow, right.
So,
yes,
okay, right. I guess we're going to have to deal with that. Having that conversation.
Okay.
In comes the client, you know.
Not uncommon. Must say
no, and so it was in. So they were still in the packet, still in their wrapping. And so I said to the nurse, I go, oh man, you know, the problem is they can swell up, and you know they can then cause a blockage.
Terrible.
Because I mean they're there to be absorbent, and so one of the nurses said, oh well, you know, let's test it. So you know, I'm sure, you know. I'm sure there's a tampon somewhere around here because it's a vet clinic, and you know you're the only guy that works here apart from Sean. I'm pretty sure he's not going to have one, but you know, so they found it and put it in a glass of water and said, "Let's see whether it swells up." I go, oh, "Okay, rightio, what a tremendous scientific experiment."
As a test,
it didn't happen, so that was nothing swelled up. So dog came in, and you know, for the poor you know client's daughter, you know, she's a teenager, and she's going to go, oh no, I just had him on my bed. And so it's like, oh yeah, I know, look, it's fine. It's not the first time, won't be the last time.
Yes.
So you know, made him vomit, and you know, brought up all of the breakfast, and no signs of any feminine hygiene products, no plastic or anything like that.
Oh no.
Oh crap. You know, so I x-rayed, and there was this one patch of where it looked a little bit gassy in the stomach, you know, or like gas, but then a little pocket where there could have been something else. It's not going to show up on x-ray either. So I, you know, I did an ultrasound, and I said, look, there's some fluid in there and there's some stuff, but it could just be chunky food that's sitting in there still too. I said, look, you know, what do you want to do? You know, I mean, if they're in there and that they weren't 100% sure that the pup actually ate it.
Yeah, well, it's strange that would eat it in the packet. I mean, that's not really, usually what
MO.
we see.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
there's normally, yeah. But anyway, okay, yeah.
So I said to myself, look, either if you were absolutely 100% sure that they'd eaten it, I would say we need to get it out, and I could send you off to the place where I've just sent the other little puppy to go and have its
where they've got
out,
some special vomiting stuff that works
vomiting
like mine
stuff.
doesn't.
Yeah. That my vomiting stuff makes them vomit. It doesn't actually bring up the damn foreign body. And so they said, oh no, look, we might just see how it goes. I go, okay, that's fine. Right. If you're not 100% sure, if it's, it starts vomiting, having trouble not eating, then, foreign body until proven otherwise, you're going to have to go in and do an X lab. Yeah, no, the dog's doing fine. So that's great, and then get to the Monday morning. I'm going through all the emails to try and check for other things. And another one of our dogs ate on a Saturday afternoon, ate an earring and and some string. So it went so and so she said, oh, it was getting pretty late, and so I wasn't sure if you were still going to be there. I said, well, we were there, and at least I might have had more success with trying to make your dog bring up the string up compared to the other two that I couldn't bring up anything. So there you go. Saturdays.
Well, we had one Saturday. Dog owner rang up, said, oh, my dog's eating sultana.
Right. Yes.
And it was a small enough dog, and we're sort of like, no, and I think we're so busy, and I sort of said, look, we don't know the dose. Look, it's probably worth just making the vomit. It's just vomit of sultana. No worries. Brought the dog in, made the dog vomit. Same stuff you use, mate. Same stuff everyone uses. And actually ended up vomiting. We counted 10 raisins in the end that it vomited.
Yeah, right.
I took them out, bagged them all up, took them out down. I said, look, they're actually lucky we did make vomit because there are 10 raisins there. She goes, oh, I told my boyfriend, I knew we should come in. He was saying, don't bother. And I was like, well, there you go.
There you go.
Goes, it was actually a cookie we ate. So it had like raisins in the cookie and ate the whole cookie. But obviously the partner was like, don't worry. Nah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Just come back and,
one sultana turned into 10 raisins. So there you go.
There you go. That's that dog's some sort of alchemist.
Yes. Impressive.
Yeah,
definitely. Big thank you to Zilkeen, supporter of the podcast.
Absolutely. Why not? Let's get to the sponsors.
I know. We're going, aren't we? And mild anxiety lowering medication. We use it a lot, certainly in clinic. It's available over the counter, so you don't need to go to your vet for a script for it. But great for any sort of mild anxiety situation that you've got for your cat or your dog or your
really
horse.
Really safe. It's it has a horse. Yeah,
you can use it in horses.
You need a lot of it for a horse.
Yeah, bucket of it. Yep,
bucket
of capsules. A lot of capsules.
A whole lot of capsules. Yeah, if your neighbours see you trying to stick 60 little blue capsules down the throat of your horse, chances are they're going to think you're trying to smuggle something across state lines.
I think there is a large animal size. I'm not sure. Anyway,
is it really?
We'll research that. We'll let you know next week. And also, big news. Delicate Care's signed on again, mate. Another responsorship again. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much, Delicate Care. So, gee whiz, if anyone's got a need of getting some great Australian-made, Australian-owned food, why not go to your vet and find out about further? Go and ask them for some food from the great folks at Delicate Care.
Yeah, very good product. Good for your pets or dogs or cats are hypoallergenic, or maybe you got some weight issues or mobility stuff, or even the dental stuff that the prof doesn't feed to his cat.
Yeah, I had a cat during the week that's got skin issues, it's got allergies, and so I said, you know what, we should probably try and do a food trial. I said, so you got a couple of options. You can either go for the hydrolyzed protein diet, which I'll be honest with you, seems to taste like crap, because every time, half the time we sell a bag of it, it comes back and my cats end up getting it because it gets returned. Right. And my cats don't like eating it either. So we can try that, and that's probably a good thing. Or we can try the novel protein diet. Has your cat ever had duck or kangaroo before? No, it hasn't. Well, boy, have I got the diet for you.
Yeah, very nice. Oh, good stuff, mate. Excellent. And of course, a big thank you to our Patreon supporters. Had a little bit of follow-up from from Rebecca Duffy. We answered her question about she had just finished her vet, or was in the middle of vet tech training, and got a job at a cat clinic.
All right.
We helped her about that, saying she said, "Thanks very much for your response in last week's episode, a couple of weeks ago. I'll try to avoid getting eaten by the cats."
Good.
She said, obviously
Good
that same
start.
episode that my dad enjoyed with the cats eating the person. It would be really great if a future episode sometime soon, you could have Deb back on.
Absolutely.
Sounds on the podcast. Interesting. So thanks, Rebecca.
Sounds like a great idea, because, it'd be easier for you to try and line Deb up to do it than trying to line me up. It's a bit,
It's all right, mate. No, we're all good. All good.
Yeah.
All righty. So you got anything in the news, or
yes,
go?
Yes. No, I've got something here. So this came up in the Age this week, or last week actually. Post-lockdown pets seek new homes and new hope. So this is what we were a little bit worried about was going to be happening after all the COVID puppy boom and everyone going out and getting lots of dogs and being at home during lockdown, and then suddenly situations change and. Yeah.
I had a few people send me this link actually, as saying, I think one was from Deb saying, check this out. This is exactly what you said. And also one from my brother-in-law, Uncle Dave. Big shout out to Uncle Dave, listening to the
Uncle
podcast.
Dave. Yeah.
He sent it to me. He said, you guys are clairvoyants. So not in a good way, unfortunately. But
no. So this is from Rachel Dexter, from written in the Age. It was published in the 12th of June, 2021. Kate Meehan knows what it takes to rehabilitate a surrendered dog. 10 years ago, she adopted Kelpie Taz and inherited all the issues from her previous home, where Ms. Meehan suspects she wasn't exercised or occupied enough. When I got her, she was incredibly destructive, tearing everything up. She just wasn't getting that physical and mental stimulation, she said. She's a very intelligent breed, and I could run her for 10 kilometers, but she'd still not be mentally worn out. That's certainly something that we see with the Taz as a picture here. She looks like she's a nice crossbreed Kelpie style kind of hound. So, certainly dogs that, you might be able to run their legs off, but if you don't try and do something, to try and burn out their mental energy, then often you still end up back at square one.
Yeah. It's interesting. My dentist today, I went to the dentist today, just nice.
Oh, look, so pearly. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And she said, I'm going to get a border collie. And it's great because we're exercise, we've got young boys, we run a lot. And I said, you might be able to run it, but you also need that mental stimulation. You got to play, obedience, do some training with it, give it lots of toys, lots and lots of mental stimulation for a dog like that as well. So yeah, spot on, Kate.
It's one of my, one of my three things that I always say to people, if you're going to get a dog that chases sheep, it's often good if it's got sheep to chase. Tend to,
sheeple. Sheeple to chase, yes.
Sheeple to chase, yeah.
You're going to take it to the anti-vax rallies, mate, and
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sheeple.
Did I say that to you when I got my vaccine, my COVID vax, and I turned around to because there was two people in the cubicle with us, and I turned to the one that didn't give me the injection. I said, "So is this the one that gives me 5G or?" And both of them just went ashen faced. It's like, oh no. I said, no, look, I'm only kidding. Sorry, I've been sitting on that for 2 weeks. I've been wanting to say it. I apologize, but I just
surely every dad that went in that day, mate, said the exact same joke.
At least 20%. Surely.
That's why the ashen face are like, oh, for another banker starting with W.
Geez, I wish I had to use the bigger needle then on that,
Yeah, that's right.
They might have put that on my file for next time. They're going to use engaged needle on me the next time.
They might. They'll be like, sorry, Dr. Andrew, we've got a note here that you just need to drop your DAX here. We've got a special little needle for you.
Yeah, this one's going intracloaca. So after the pet pop adoption boom during the lockdowns of 2020, at least one organisation, a foundation about it from a certain, multi or national, pet store thing, which I won't name, has seen a drove of cats and dogs that were adopted out last year now coming back as surrenders. Manager Janelle Bloxham said the foundation, which takes in and adopts out the overflow of surrendered animals from rescue organisations like the RSPCA, has seen a 200% increase in the past 3 months of adoptions at their 150 centres fueled by COVID surrendered pets. Ms. Bloxham said that they were adopting out 4 times as many pets as this time last year, the majority being 1-year-old cats and dogs that were adopted initially in the 2020 lockdowns. It was something that she had predicted, but not the only Nostradamus going around.
No, obviously not.
To see the shelters empty and pet ownership skyrocket, there had to be some kind of surrender, right? And it was going to be big. According to Companion Animal Network, which started collecting data from shelters around the country when the pandemic struck, the most common reasons for surrendering an animal over the past year were rental issues, behavioural problems, and domestic violence.
Wow.
So you have the rental issues. We always, there's always been sort of, around the edge of where, if the landlords suddenly say, well, no, you're not allowed to have animals, or, if people need to move out into different rental properties, then sometimes, but I thought that was all.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that. Isn't it illegal to say you can't have a pet now?
I think these days, yeah.
Unless it's Victoria.
Unless it's a thing of saying that if you've got 2 people that are putting up or 2 people that are going for a rental and one's got pets and one's don't, then maybe they're being prejudiced against.
Or it could be just a reason, that's not true, I suppose.
Yeah. But behavioural problems, definitely, actually, you're right. I mean, the rental issues might just be a reason for people to try and feel a bit more guilt-free with themselves about surrendering it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's hard for me to get a rental with a pet. Well, is it really, or is there something else going on? Yeah.
And domestic violence is like, that's one that you do hear about sometimes. You have people that are having to move home quickly and they can't take their pets with them. So
isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
Gosh, wow.
Network boss Trish Ennis questioned if the end of the rental moratorium, which was in place for much of 2020, played a factor. That's what we're sort of, you've picked up on there. Miss Meehan said that dogs and puppies she had fostered that were surrendered during the pandemic were mostly due to the animals not being able to cope when life returned to normal and families returned to work and school.
Right.
That's absolutely
separation anxiety.
Yeah, 100%. Since COVID, a lot of the surrenders have been due to changing circumstances. The dogs are coming through with these behavioural issues. They were born into a family that loved them and had all the time in the world for them, and then everyone back to school and work, and they freak out because of these changes. Dogs who aren't used to being left alone often started barking and being destructive, she said, and the key to rehabilitating was to create a safe space for them through crate training and exposing them to normal routines and habits. Certainly that's some stuff that you can do, but having a shower and closing a door between you and the dog, for example, she said, I had one puppy who'd almost never been put down on the ground before. He was always carried. I didn't realize that Paris Hilton had given her Chihuahua up for adoption.
Isn't that just about every Chihuahua we see at the clinic?
Yeah. Chihuahuas tend to not need their legs.
Yeah. Do you, just aside, just going inside, have you seen more separation anxiety, would you anecdotally say?
It's a great question. I think we're probably seeing a bit more in the way of general behavior things, but I wouldn't say specifically separation anxiety. I think because like with any COVID or with any of the COVID puppies that came in last year, we were on it so quickly, like trying to word up the owners as much as possible to try and predict this as being an issue, So whether or not we're just really lucky, whether or not we're really good, or whether or not our owners just aren't telling us yet. It might be that it's going to be another few months before we start having people coming and going, oh God, please help.
Or they're all going to the pound.
Or they're all just getting taken straight to the pound. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I think the thing with us is I don't think we're seeing it that much. And I reckon a lot of it's because people are still working from home. We're still not getting those people returning to work because we just had a lockdown, again here in Melbourne. So I really think it'd be interesting to see, still see how we're going. But interesting that the age has picked up on it, and it seems to be happening already, unfortunately.
Yeah. There's one part here that you can never not take the critical part of turn the critical part of your brain off. Megan Sokol, general manager at the Australian Animal Protection Society, said that while many surrenders were due to boisterous puppies who had grown up and weren't trained, she had seen some heartbreaking examples through the pandemic of people unable to afford their pets anymore. And I think that's a big one. People that have gone out and got animals and they can't afford them anymore.
Yeah,
we did have one dog where both the husband and wife lost their jobs, and the dog did its cruciate ligament, which is a $4,000 to $5,000 surgery, she said. They were faced with the, do we feed our children or do we repair our dog's legs? So you understand that. Anyone in that situation would say, I have to look after my family first. Now, the only thing I'd say with that is no dog's ever died from having, not having its cruciate ligament, its knee operated on. Yes, you can, your dog should have, for the best outcome, you should have surgery, but you don't have to have surgery. Yes, the dog's going to end up with arthritis. Dogs end up with arthritis anyway, but it's not something where, and certainly you don't need to do the $4,000 to $5,000 surgery. There are other options.
Well, what if it's a big Rottweiler, though, struggling on three legs?
Yeah, but before we started 25 years ago, we were still, if you've got a dog that's got end-stage degenerative joint disease in both knees, it doesn't matter what's going on. But, before people started cutting out, wedges and things like that for leg.
I'm totally is a cheaper option. No doubt about that. Yeah, I totally agree with that. But that might be, whether it's $4,000 or $1,000, if you can't put food on the table, it doesn't matter.
Oh,
it's
for
expensive,
sure.
So I can totally see that somebody, if they're faced with the option of their dog's uncomfortable, it's a welfare issue, they have to surrender it so it can have the surgery. So it's no longer a welfare issue.
Yeah.
Totally with that, but I'm sure I agree with that. You don't have to have the $5,000 surgery on every knee that you see.
Absolutely, definitely. That's the thing for me, is that if it's if ever you're presented with something that's going to be costing that much, you always ask, is there another option?
What else can we do? Yeah, exactly.
What else is going on? Because it's not like I say to people, it's not like it's got a corn cob stuck in its abdomen.
Yes.
There's a corn cob stuck in the intestine. There ain't no way that you're going to fix that up with rest and anti-inflammatories. That's a 100% surgical thing. But anyway, so
that's interesting, because I certainly think, perhaps we're in a lucky area where we work, where it's I guess majority middle class. Although we do have some people that are really struggling where we are, that some government housing, that sort of thing, and we certainly do our best to try and keep those pets with those people,
absolutely,
within their means and within their budgets, and they're often the salt of the earth, that they will put the money aside and they will do what they can to do the best, and we'll give them options all the way. So don't feel you can't talk to your vet about options. That's certainly not the case, I reckon.
Absolutely. Anyway, or do you want to go on and do the disclaimer, and then
I think so, mate. We're running out of time.
All advice on this show is generally in nature, so please consult your veterinarian before following any advice for your pet. We do our best to provide the most up-to-date information, as veterinary medicine is continually advancing and changing. Please let us know if we missed anything or if you need any clarification.
Excellent. I want to talk just a really quick topic this week, just about jumping up in dogs.
Yes.
Really
that's
common
That's just a puppy thing that they'll grow out of, won't it? Isn't it?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, finished.
So anyway, thank you very much.
Okay.
So if you want to get in touch with,
It's a really common problem. I mean, you'd see it all the time in the clinic. People saying, "Oh, how do I stop them from jumping up?" And the classic one actually is, I'll have clients. I have a bit of a routine. We've got a routine. You walk into the concert room, dog's on a lead. I'll say you can let the dog off the lead, sort of thing, and then I might have some treats for it. But usually, if it's a sort of friendly dog, often let off the lead. First thing the dog is jump up on you. And then I'll be, "Oh, get down." No, you're trying to tell it off. And I'm like, no, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'll turn away, walk away, maybe try and give it a bit of a little cue with my hand with a treat, just to see if it'll sit. And if it'll sit, then I'll reward it.
Yeah.
Fairly quickly, they realize, all right, bum's on the ground. I get food rewards. There's food on the ground. I don't need to jump up anymore. So it is a really common thing that the people sort of say, how do we get dogs from stop from jumping up on us? And this is a article from, I think it's from Florida Vet Behavior, or flvetbehavior.com. So go and check them out. They are obviously based in Missouri. Yeah.
Yeah, Florida, Western Australia. Yeah,
that's right, most likely. So no, it's not in the title at all. So it says it's most often the dogs are jumping up for attention. And certainly this is I'd agree with that. It's natural to want to be up near the hands of the face of someone who may pat you. Unfortunately, owners do generally pat dogs when they jump up, and this reinforces the behavior. So more likely to do it again. Any type of attention can be seen as reinforcement, and that's really important. So often a dog that, they'll say, oh, we push him off, or, we yell at him and that sort of thing. And some of those dogs just actually see that as attention. Pushing off, it's a firm sort of pat that we're getting. Yelling at the dog, they're like, well, that's just become just routine of what happens when you jump up. Now you look at me and you yell at me, and that's just getting me some attention. There are some dogs, I suppose, that will jump if they're anxious or they've got an abundance of excess energy. I mean, we've all seen that Labrador that's just so out of control in the concert room, and he loves coming to the vet, and we're like, no, he's actually a little bit anxious, and that's a nervous anxiety that we're seeing. So that's important to look out for that as well. But teaching dogs to jump up, it is fairly simple in theory. Sometimes the consistency is hard to get along. And this article says, ignoring the dog when they're jumping up and teaching him an alternate way to get attention from you is what we're trying to do. It's not that difficult to retrain, but it does take a bit of time, and it needs consistency. So it means that all the owners in the house need to do the same thing, and all the visitors that come to the house also need to do the same thing. Some people try, yelling the dog. Some people try ignoring the dog when they jump up. And that gives mixed messages. Sometimes I'm being yelled at, sometimes I'm being pushed off. Other times I'm being ignored. I'm just not sure. I'm going to keep jumping up.
Mixed messages lead to anxiety. And so if you're jumping up because you're anxious, you're going to keep on doing it.
Yeah, well, potentially. And also if you're giving us intermittent rewards, so you're only rewarding us when you come home, sometimes, but then other times when visitors come, you're telling me off. Well, that one time when you come home, I'm just going to be so excited and so happy about that. And that sort of intermittent rewarding stuff is actually much harder to train out of a dog than a dog that's rewarded every time. It's kind of like the poker machine effect. So you think about, when they used to have a handle, I guess they're a button now. If you won money every time you press the poker machine button, you'd be filthy rich and be great. But in theory, you get bored of it fairly quickly. Yeah. Whereas it's that repetitive of I haven't won, and then suddenly I win. Wow! So that's really hooks you in and keeps you going. It's the same thing with the jumping up. If every now and then we do get something we see is rewarding, we will keep doing it, and so it's even harder to extinguish. So some simple tips it gives. So number one, do not knee, kick, or yell at the dog when they jump on you. This is generally ineffective, and some dogs, like we said, can view this as reward if they got your attention. Number two, start asking your dog to sit for every bit of attention that they get. So then they start knowing that's how they get your attention. They sit. They can sit and they get your attention. They get a pat, they get some eye contact, they get a good dog, they get some food, they get a food reward. Number three, if he's jumping on you, walk away from them. When he stops jumping on you, then ask them to sit. And that's what I'm doing in the consult room. They jump on me, I turn away. There's no interaction. There's no eye contact. Maybe if they're persistent, I'll throw a treat away from the dog on the floor to get them to stop jumping on me. And then I'll try again, see if I can get them to sit before they'll come and run, jump on me again. So when they sit, you're rewarding with a food reward, you're rewarding with a pat, praise, something they enjoy, let them know, hey, that's what I want you to do. If you're using a high-pitched voice and they get more excited by that, try something a bit lower, like a little whisper, even like, good dog, well done, buddy, good buddy. And then a food reward, could be ASMR.
Yeah, light some fires, burn the world. Don't chase the postman.
This is me chewing some chewing gum. Okay. If dogs jump on you when you come in the front door, you can try walking straight back out the door again. And and walk the other side of the door and maybe count to 5, then have another go, and then tell him to sit and come through the door again, and just doing that repetition of hang on. And then when they finally do sit and they don't jump up and they're calm, then you got the food reward, and you can and you can reward them for doing that. Praise your dog for when they're sitting for attention. So make sure to keep your praise calm and cool.
Yeah.
ASMR.
Yeah. None of this. Oh, it's a good dog. You're sitting. Oh, wow. How good are you?
No, this is me crinkling a piece of paper. ASMR. So cool and calm.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get them excited. Don't get them excited and praise. And everything will improve with consistency. That's where you're going to get your most amount of improvement with your jumping up from consistency. And then also in the meantime, if you're still having problems when the dog comes in, and you're still working on that, trying to get them under control, you're working from, okay, I'm getting them to sit for my attention, and then I'm trying to ignore them when they're jumping up from me, but we're still sort of working on both those sides. Sometimes you can have a bucket of treats by the front door. When you're walking, you throw the treats on the floor for the front door. Dog searches for the treats, sniffing around, running around for the treats, allows you to get inside, maybe diffuse a bit of the excitement of that door opening. And you can also use that for when visitors coming as well, or maybe there's a toy that they like, you can toss the toy for them to sort of go and play with as well, something to distract them. And so in that way, you sort of, you're giving yourself a bit of time, because it does take time. If you've over a long period of time intermittently rewarded your dog for jumping, it does take time to extinguish that behavior and teach them that's not what I really want. And that's what I'm doing in the consult room. Exactly the same sort of thing. Dogs jumping on me, I'm throwing those food rewards away from me onto the floor, trying to distract them and bring them to sort of settle them down a little bit. And then we'll try again with not jumping on me in the future, so I don't trash my pants all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Deb, it was just another dog that was jumping all over my pants, just ripped them to shreds. It wasn't me just walking down the street in Port Melbourne, just flexing my quads as I walk down there,
doing a deep squat.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a big thighs, like a speed skater you've got.
Exactly. They called me Bradbury. Definitely. I thought that was my thighs, but I'm not so sure now. Yeah. Anyway, if you got a question, you can find us at 2vetstalkpets@gmail.com. We're on the socials. Robbie's on OnlyFans, you mate, your account.
Absolutely, yeah. Ceiling fans, pedestal fans.
Many subscribers. More than our YouTube page. Your OnlyFans page. More subscribers than YouTube.
Oh, look, one thing I really like about my fans is that the fact that we've got, you in winter, you can flick them one way so it pushes the hot air down. And then in summer, you flick it so that then, it's get really good air exchange. It's fantastic.
OnlyFans.
Did you see what I did there?
Didn't
even bite at that. It was fantastic. Come
OnlyFans.
on, draw your picture.
OnlyFans / the best vet in Waverley.com. Go and check it out. You can sign up for a
excellent.
couple of dollars, I imagine.
I'll make me there trimming nails.
ASMR or anal glands, maybe. Oh,
yeah, just in super slow-mo, watching them squirt across the room.
Nice. Anyway, so you can get on. We're also on Patreon if you really like us late talk at night. It's getting a bit out of control. I think that's about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's get out of here. It's not going to get any better. So thanks, everybody. Peace out.
Scratch you later.
Bye.